Final score, the Bears lose to the Green Bay Packers by the score of 17-9. The Bears finish their season at 7-10. Leave me your comments below what you think of the Bears and their loss against the Green Bay Packers and your overall thoughts about the season for the Chicago Bears team. Let me tell you what I think. So the Chicago Bears had nothing to play for in this game. They were not going to be a playoff team. But there's one mission statement I'm sure that Matt Eberflus talked about. And that mission statement was to be able to knock the Packers out of the playoffs, very similar to what the Detroit Lions did last year. At this time last year, the Lions had nothing to play for. They go to Lambeau Field, they beat the Packers. And the Bears, because the Bears had some momentum going into the game, beating Atlanta, beating Arizona, all right, let's see what the Bears can do in a big test, big spot on the road against a team that you haven't beaten all decade, and that is the Green Bay Packers. And the Bears failed the test. They couldn't even get into the end zone. They could not even get in the end zone, even though there are positive plays from DJ Moore and Cole Kmet. Even EQ St. Brown got into the mix, and that's great for the Bears. But the point is, though, is that if you can't get into the end zone, if you do not score, then more times than not, you're not going to win. It's amazing this season. The Bears actually went through a game against Carolina in which they didn't score a touchdown. They still won the ball game. Shows you how bad Carolina is. But that's not the point. The point is that the Bears didn't even look close offensively against the Green Bay Packers defense. Not even close. Again, some good plays, but good plays is not the same thing as getting into the end zone and making it a battle. The Bears were not going to be a playoff team this year. They were going to maybe knock the Packers out, and they couldn't get that done because they were anemic offensively. How many times have we seen that this year? The inconsistency of Justin Fields and his offense is the reason why it's up for grabs of whether or not Fields is going to be back here next year as a starter. The inconsistency of Luke Getsy, the inconsistency of Matt Eberflus and the offensive line. That's the reason why that is up for grabs and why this is a conversation about how the Bears could change quarterbacks here in the offseason by going into the draft and getting Caleb Williams or Drake May because of the inconsistency. That comes from the play caller, that comes from the players as well. And so it's just not good enough. 7-10 is exactly what I thought the Bears would be. But the point is, I wasn't sitting here trying to be right. I was hoping they would be better than 7-10. But they have 7-10 offense. The defense really came to play this year. They did the best that they could. They started off slowly, but the defense really was the distinguishing characteristic of Matt Eberflus and this team. And so they're 7-10 out of the playoffs and really did not look that good against the Green Bay Packers offensively. And then from the Packers standpoint, hats off to them. They gashed the Bears with that soft cover 2 coverage. 124 yards on the ground for the Packers running the football, and Jordan Love just doing pitch and catch. And I'm looking at the big plays to Jaden Reed and some big plays to Bo Melton. But otherwise, it was a lot of pitch and catch and a lot of run after the catch, taking advantage of the soft zone of the Bears defense. Here's all the Bears need to do. The Bears need to be able to play as well as they did against Atlanta and Arizona, against Green Bay, big spot, and think about how the narrative would change if the Bears went into Lambeau Field, again, non-playoff scenario for the Bears, and beat the Packers for the first time in a long time. Did not happen because the Bears are just not good enough. Just not good enough as far as Matt Eberflus is concerned. So we had one report, and that was from Ian Rappaport, who said that Matt Eberflus will be safe as head coach for the Chicago Bears. You see that effort? You see this 7-10 team? It is better than they were last year, sure, from one loss record standpoint, but what does that really mean? Can you guarantee me that the Bears will be a much better football team next year? You know, Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles might look at this and say, we're just going to hang in there and we're going to bring back Justin Fields and Eberflus and Luke Getsy and everybody else because you went from 3 wins to 7 wins to what? The inconsistency of Justin Fields and this offense and what has happened with this offensive line and the play calling, all of it makes the Bears a below average football team. In a league in which it's about trying to throw the football down the field and have a good offensive line and running the football well, the Bears have just been too inconsistent and too stagnant at times to be able to be, for sure, have a clear lane of what they want to do at the quarterback position. This is why it's controversy. This is why it's murky, is because every team is not perfect, as you know. But the point is, though, is that if the offense keeps looking like this is why it's up for grabs. They don't know if they think they bring in something fresh like Caleb Williams or Drake May, or bring in a new offensive coordinator to be able to get this right, because nothing's guaranteed. All I know is that the defense is getting better, and I take my hat off to the Bears defense, especially with the addition of Montez Sweat and Ngakoue being part of that as well, which is great. But looking at this offense, in an offensive league, the Bears are just not good enough. It just isn't good enough. So let me get your comments below. What did you think of this 7-10 outfit? This offseason is going to be up for grabs. There's going to be a lot of question marks. Hope you get a chance to listen to Captain J Hood, and make sure you call in. Give your thoughts. It's one thing to tell me on Instagram and on X about your thoughts on the Bears, but maybe you have a lot better ideas than I do, and many do, about this Bears team and their future. Check in with us. What do you think is best for this Bears team? 7-10 is not good enough. 3 wins the other year is not good enough. Are you sure this offense is going to be better next year just by adding on a few players here or there? The system matters too.